Hey, everybody, and welcome to another jam-packed edition of the OverMark Podcast. I'm one half of your host, Dave, and of course, I can't sit here talking to myself, folks. Sitting across from me is the man who makes Dave Meltzer grind his teeth just by existing. He'll bury AEW 1 minute, then spend the next begging it to hit 1 million viewers like it's his long-lost child. I still can't drag him back into World of Warcraft, but maybe one retro month he'll finally reinstall it. Speaking of install, he installed Chrono Cross, which he's already tearing through like it's a main event push. He's sharp, he's stubborn, and he's the only guy I know who can hate watch a promotion while still rooting for it. Give it up for my tag team partner in sarcasm and storytelling, TJ. Yay, TJ.
I have myself muted. That's the best one yet. Thanks for the introduction.
You're
I
welcome.
enjoyed it. You know, it's Yeah, you don't get introductions in everyday life, so it's a little bit different. We get to introduce each other.
Right? Usually it's just like, hey, I'm Dave. How's it going? Shake somebody's hand.
No,
give him a walker.
I just mean like in the morning, you walk into work, everybody, oh, hey, there's this guy again.
Yeah. Everybody's just kind of miserable because they're there at work.
Yep. Most people.
Getting through it together, though, as they say.
That's right.
Well, and speaking of getting through it together, we have SmackDown from September 5th, 2025, Collision from September 6th, 2025, the news, and we did a King of the Hill episode 7 review. And don't forget to follow us on all of our socials at OvermarkENT. And like, comment, subscribe on our videos. Stop disliking our videos, Ryan, if you hear this. And do you want to do SmackDown or do you want to do Collision?
I'll start off. So,
sounds good.
We got WWE SmackDown, and they had an attendance, which was a sellout of 16,578 at the Allstate Arena at Rosemont, Illinois. So, we're going to do the, by the way, that was on 9/5/25, last Friday, and we're going to jump right into the results here. So, we had a Cena promo, and you could tell he was emotional. He's starting to tell it's winding down.
Yeah. His can't talk. I don't know. We already started. Might as well restart the whole damn show now. No. It was his last SmackDown is what all of that was about.
Yeah, pretty much. It was good. United States Champion Open Challenge, Sami Zayn versus John Cena ends in a no contest due to Brock run-in. Man, this match went on way too long.
I felt like we were watching AEW for a minute because the first match of the show was still going on 41 minutes into the first hour.
Yeah, I'm not saying it was like a bad match by any means, but it's like after a while, it's like, geez, let's move on here.
He did put Sami over a bit, all of the false finishes and stuff like that, and Sami kicking out of finishing moves and things of that nature. So yeah, it was cool. It did elevate Sami a little bit. So at least something positive came out of it.
And then we have like the two goth guys on the show, Aleister Black and defeating Damian Priest. I don't know. I feel like this should be like a bigger deal, but it's not.
Yes. That's a perfect way to describe this. I really am a big fan of both of these guys.
Yeah, same.
And it feels like that maybe they're just hamstrung by, creative. I mean, you can only do what they tell you to do.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And then we had the WWE Women's United States Championship match, Giulia defeating Michin. I don't know, this was okay, I guess, but it's just hard to take Michin seriously as a championship threat to any of them.
Right, and I don't want to use the term enhancement talent when it comes to her, but I mean, pretty close.
Yeah.
And I do really like Giulia.
Yeah. She, and her manager, I forget her name. It's a pretty good little package. But then
Yeah.
we'll move on to another package, which is in a couple different ways. If you've seen the photos online, somebody here has a package that a lot of people have seen. So it's
Oh
Becky,
no.
Seth, CM Punk, and then surprise AJ Lee return and beat down on Becky. And yeah, this is pretty good. Everybody seems pretty hyped up about it. And you got the haters saying it's not a big deal. You have the people all about it. And that was, I know that was my high point of the show. I know it was yours too.
Oh yeah. It was the worst kept secret in wrestling that week.
Yeah.
And it kind of like when Punk came back. When he came back in AEW, it was like the worst kept secret in wrestling, and they sold out the Bulls Stadium Arena. I can't. The name is escaping me right now.
I should know it too, but yeah, they definitely did.
We really should know it.
But anyways, my low point was Priest versus Black. Like I pointed out, I just feel like this should be a bigger deal, and it kind of, I don't like how two very talented guys that, I know there's only so much room, but it's like, I don't know, something here just isn't clicking the way it should.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was a 2-hour show with 3 matches, so they probably could have gave that one a little bit more time to breathe and do something. My low point ended up being how long that the first match was. Just I couldn't really pick one because I kind of enjoyed most of the show. Like TJ said, I wanted more out of Aleister Black and Damian Priest, but it is what it is.
That's true. And I rated this thing a 6.
Yeah. I gave it a 7. Big time comebacks get me, and the crowd was super hype. It was almost like an overseas crowd. Chicago is probably the best wrestling city, one of the best wrestling cities in the country in terms of crowd.
Well, I mean, it's Punk's wife. Like, Punk's, if Punk had a parrot, it would get a huge pop coming down through the crowd. If he had a pet slug, they would be losing their mind about the pet slug. So, I mean, it's Punk.
Yeah, she is over on her own.
I'm not discrediting that at all.
I mean, that does help, though.
In Chicago, that 100% helps, being married to CM Punk. She would get the same reaction a lot of different places, but I'm just saying it's like I'm sure Heyman's, like, if he had a son that was in wrestling, he would always be cheered in Pittsburgh, or like in PA and Philadelphia and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But anyways, speaking of Philadelphia, why don't you talk about that? What happened there?
Well, whole bunch of stuff and things. When we had AEW Collision, which continues its trend of selling out 916 seats at the 2300 Arena, the old ECW venue in Philly. I really hope that they sell out this entire residency because, I mean,
they will.
It's not very many tickets. I'm sure they will. We had when I was putting this in, I had to make sure that I wasn't looking at the shit from last week because we had Jon Moxley wrestling Daniel García again and beating him. I'm tired of this shit, man.
Well, it's funny because it's like, I don't want to go on a tangent, but we just keep saying over and over again, Jon Moxley's got to go away for a little bit, and they just keep rubbing him in your face even more. He's on every show all the time now. And then Daniel García, it's like, at some point, it's like, enough's enough.
He needs to go hunch his way into the deli line and make some sandwiches behind the counter or something. I don't know.
Correct.
Something. But anyway, the next match we had FTR defeating Tommy Billington, who is the Dynamite Kid Jr. or whatever, and Adam Priest. So cool. They beat some jobbers, I guess. Dynamite Kid's, I don't know if it's his son, grandson. I assume grandson at this point because his daughters are like my age.
I don't care.
Or older than me. Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody cares about Tommy Billington. What they care about is FTR having a good match, and they should be putting FTR in like these like good match after good match every single week because that's what this fan base wants, right? Why aren't they doing that?
Yep.
These guys can have a better tag team match than anybody on the planet, in my opinion, but what do I know?
Literally the best tag team in the world. Is what it is.
They still have the best tag team match that has ever happened on the show or any TV show in wrestling history against Juice Robinson and Jay White. I think it was the second or third Collision.
Yeah, that was a really good match.
Yeah, it was.
Dalton Castle announced his return to the programming and his alliance with the Outrunners through a video. Yeah, like we were saying before, this is all right. It kind of just something we made notes in here accidentally because this is not really a match, but
well, it doesn't matter. Like Dalton Castle really isn't that bad. He can actually wrestle and he stands out from some of the other guys. I just wish that they would have maybe jumped on the Outrunners earlier on when they were like super over, when they first like started to become over, as opposed to like Bandito or like a makeshift tag team. But it's all in the past now, right?
Right, they failed to capitalize on these guys being over, and now they've kind of cooled a little bit, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
And speaking of unfortunate, no, this next thing's not bad. We have Tony Storm, Mina Shirakawa, and Chris Statlander, and Harley Cameron defeating Megan Bayne and the Triangle of Madness that consists of Sky Blue, Giulia Hart, and Tekla. I didn't hate this. I can't seem to warm up to Tekla though.
Yeah, I don't know. It's she's kind of like Josh Alexander. You can compare him to him, just somebody that they signed that they made a big deal of for like a couple days, and now they're just one of the boys or girls.
The people.
Oh yeah.
The people. Well, after the match, the Triangle of Madness attacked their opponents until Jamie Hayter made the save. So, little Miss Jamie Hayter's back, and
that's cool.
That means that she's healed up from her injury. Yeah, that
she showed up at the pay-per-view. If you remember.
Yeah. That's true. That's
yeah.
true. It's one of the higher points of the show. Getting Jamie Hayter on there.
I think so.
Even though she's still dressing like a '70s goof, but whatever. Then we had old Kyle Fletcher talking about his attack on Kenny Omega and challenging Adam Page for the AEW World Championship. I didn't hate this, and it feels like Kyle Fletcher is actually a professional wrestler.
Yeah, it does, but it's just a shame that I don't know. It's not bad to like go against and lose to the world champion. So I guess in that extent, it's not bad. It's just just out of nowhere, it seems like they're like, all right, we're finally gonna go with this guy, as opposed to like years and years of not much build or progression. But he's definitely been putting in the work, and we're big fans of him.
Oh yeah. Well, and in the main event, we had Takeshita defeating Mark Briscoe with the help of MJF. We'll just go ahead and transition into high point, low point here, because this is going to be what TJ and I are going to talk about anyway. This was my high point for the show, and MJF doing the run-in on his actual wedding day is fantastic.
Yeah, he's the only guy living the kayfabe gimmick these days. Only one.
Yep. Speaking of him living his gimmick, I was watching Maven on Chris Van Vliet earlier this week, and Chris talked about his interview, with MJF, and like he's in character before the meeting, or before, after, and during, like just the entire time, he's MJF.
Yeah.
And Chris is kind of alluding to, he's like, I think some of that's really him. And he's talking about that, like he ordered room service because, like, the room was Chris's room, so he ordered room service on Chris's bill.
Yeah.
And just proceeds to like eat it right in front of him.
Hey, whatever, he's giving him clicks for his website.
Yep.
So
awesome.
He's getting something out of it. But yeah, I enjoyed it, but anything with MJF is always my high points on these shows, and you didn't expect him to come in and do that. And I guess that they're still going to continue this feud with Briscoe and MJF into the next pay-per-view, even though it seems like
cool.
Briscoe moved on though and wanted to go after the TNT title, and I don't know, it seems just kind of like strange backtracking. But Takeshita and Briscoe had a pretty good match, and overall we both liked it.
And low point was Mox and Garcia again. Man, I'm tired of seeing these guys every week. Both of these guys suck. I'm starting to think that this show sucks. It's really a chore to have to watch.
I know it sucks. I don't think it does. Moxley's rough, man. It's just I wish he'd go away for a bit. And I wish Daniel Garcia would have went over to NXT when he had the option.
Yep. With his stupid little tuft of chest hair.
Yeah.
I gave the show a 2. I mean, this is hard watched. It's just not great.
Yeah, these collisions are uh, some pretty terrible wrestling shows by modern standards, and they are tough to get through. But
Yeah.
I think we might have something a little bit more palatable here popping up here in a second that we might be talking about. It's like it's a bird, it's a plane. No, yeah, it's news. Oh man,
It's Ice-T.
yeah. So this is kind of cool here, and it kind of fits because we talked about when he did the pay-per-view the other day or whatever they had him do that we felt that he did a pretty good job. So speaking of that good job, we're going to be talking about Bryan Danielson, and he's going to be becoming a full-time AEW Dynamite broadcast team member. So right off the bat, I don't think we know if there's going to be a 4-man booth or 3 or what the deal is with that. But hopefully it's 3 because 4 is too many. So
Yeah.
AEW did just make it official though, Dave. Bryan Danielson is now a full-time commentator on Dynamite. That's right, the American Dragon is trading in his running knees for running his mouth.
So let me get this straight. The guy who wants to kick people's heads in is now just going to talk about other people kicking heads in. That's like telling Mike Tyson, hey, champ, forget the ring. How about you just narrate a cooking show instead?
Well, except, here's the thing. Danielson's going to be great at it. The man explains a wrist lock like it's Shakespeare. And honestly, he might be the best commentator they've ever had, which is okay. And it's not hard when your competition's Excalibur screaming every move in Spanish like you just downed a case of Monster Energy.
Right? Half the time Excalibur calls a match, I can't tell if he's describing a headlock or ordering tacos. Danielson at least knows how to talk to normal human beings. He's about to make the rest of the booth look like they're auditioning for a high school podcast.
And Tony Khan just announced it, September 10th at the 2300 Arena in Philly. Live on TBS and HBO Max, Danielson joins the desk. And suddenly, AEW commentary goes from maybe some little bit of background noise to must listen. That's a stretch, but it's a must give it a try.
Philly crowds are going to chant "You sold out," but honestly, AEW should be chanting "Thank you, Bryan," because he's the guy that might save their commentary team.
Yeah, they're a complete disaster, man. It's they need some kind of structure in there. It's like when it comes to like their color guys and their like play-by-play, they don't exist. It's just like they're trying to do the modern sports desk, which everybody has their colors and their play-by-play guys, and sometimes they'll have 2 of whatever fits it because the 3-man booths do work out if they have good chemistry, but in this case they do not. Excalibur Taz is the best guy they have, and he's checked out.
Definitely.
So Tony Schiavone isn't very good. He's just pick like count how many times he says pick up a night. That's not a wrestling move, man. That's just something that's a part of it. You gotta like you can't say pick up like 200 times a night. That's too many times. You know what I'm saying? But Taz, he's checked out like
Taking
we said.
a pickup census or something?
Yeah, and then Excalibur. I don't need to get into that. One of the on all of the shows of wrestling right now, he's doing it the worst.
What do they call him?
Well, Jim calls him Sockhead, but his name's Excalibur on the show. But
oh boy.
Yeah, so this was just announced the other day, and like so he's going to be debuting Wednesday, so that should be cool. And he's done great at this before, so like I said, I think it's something that we're both looking forward to. And cool, more Bryan Danielson is okay with me.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
Well, I think we got something that you may or may not hate here too, and that's Bully Ray saying that the AEW product is lost and that Tony Khan isn't a booker, and the boys know it. So
I don't hate it.
Dave, Bully Ray came out this week and said that AEW is a lost product. And honestly, I'm not going to argue with the guy. He might be spot on.
Yeah, man, watch Dynamite right now. It's the same formula every week. 20 guys in one match, nobody gets built, and only one thing longer than the entrances are the matches themselves.
Exactly. It's either a random multi-man match or Tony Khan throws $500,000 at it. Some big dream match that'll be forgotten in 2 weeks, and that's not booking, that's an expensive hobby.
And look at their champions. None of them are in good stories. They've got the belts, but what are they actually doing? AEW somehow makes being world champion feel like being in jury duty. You show up, you're stuck there for a while, and nobody cares.
Right? The creative's all over the place. There's no direction. And for a company that was supposed to build the next generation, where are the actual stars? who's the breakout star right now? You can't really name one without, they want you to Google the roster, even though those new guys that you don't know aren't stars.
So yeah, Bully Ray might be a grumpy old man most of the time, but here, he nailed it. AW's product is near unwatchable, and the worst part is the fans know it, and the boys probably do too. Yeah, I mean, it's what we were just talking about Collision. I mean, unwatchable is a good term for it. If it were not for us doing this show, I probably would skip it most weeks.
Yeah, we're just watching the stuff that you like, the highlights and all
Yeah.
that. And don't get me wrong, I do enjoy the show sometimes, but they haven't figured out how to do a good show of wrestling television long term yet. There'll be outlier good episodes here and there, but um, I mean, some of their problems, it's what we talked about a little bit before, and I think we talk about it every week, but there's too many multi-man and all-star matches. I think the past
Every week.
eight episodes have had an all-star match, and before that they were the money matches with some kind of money gimmick. At one point they even had a pesos one. There's not really a lot of singles feuds going on, and then the people that they did have in the singles feuds, like Ospreay and Swerve, that were in their own things, got hurt. But they have this over reliance on expensive spectacle matches instead of building long term stories, which I'll give them some credit. They have had long term story success with the whole Death Riders thing, but that was more or less people just wanting to see Moxley not be champ anymore. It's still effective because it did bring some form of heat, but they definitely don't have any good long term stories right now. Then the matches drag on too long, the pace sucks, the champions lack direction, and they're not really building stars outside like a couple guys who are mainly building themselves.
Yep.
Ricochet and MJF defended AEW against them, but of course they're going to. It's their job, and they love what they're doing, and they're passionate about it. But I mean, I think anybody that's not like sucking on the teat can realize these obvious problems. And before anybody wants to crap on us, WWE's not doing very well right now either. They just have a way better job of presenting their stars, and the product looks bigger because they're in front of way more passionate, bigger crowds. But beyond that, both shows are struggling a lot right now. And because
outside of us, sorry,
you're good. I was just saying, just because we attack one show doesn't mean that we don't do the other. That we can talk about one exclusive without the other. Just like to throw that in there.
Well, outside of this episode where we reviewed SmackDown positively, we've been consistently rating it below average lately. Just Friday happened to be a better episode than what they've been putting out.
I just noticed
no one's immune.
That a lot of times when I argue with people on the internet more than you do, and
I don't even bother.
I know you don't. And I'll have people always arguing with me. Anytime you talk negatively about one, they have to bring the other one up. Like, oh, you're a shill you're a Fed drone, or you're like an AEW shill. And it's like, you'd be surprised. I like both products, enough to watch them. But just because we talk bad about one doesn't mean you got to bring the other one up. That's like saying peanut butter jelly, just because that might be bad, ham and cheese might be bad. They're not the same thing. They're both sandwiches.
The classic deflection tactic.
Pretty much, and it's irrelevant to me, but I think that being said, we're going to go ahead and move on here, and we're got a little bit of some Nates to talk about here, don't we?
Woo!
Yep.
We do.
So, Ric Flair, on his matches with fellow WWE Hall of Famer Randy Savage, he says that they had terrible chemistry, which, Dave, hold your horses. Apparently, the Nature Boy Ric Flair just threw out some serious shade on his legendary matches with Randy Savage, and he said that they have terrible chemistry. Like, Stop the Press is bad chemistry. That's like saying that peanut butter and chocolate are an acquired taste.
Right? Fans treat Flair versus Savage at WrestleMania 8 like god-tier wrestling, but apparently Flair's version of chemistry was wing it and hope for the best. Savage, on the other hand, was rehearsing moves like he was prepping for a Broadway show.
Exactly. Flair claimed that Savage wanted to drill a match together for hours, 3 hours a day, in fact, in Tampa, where Flair was like, nah, I only rehearsed for Mania. I feel the crowd, babe. That's basically, you take the script, I'll freestyle to walk to the ring, whatever that might mean.
Yeah. So in Flair's brain, what looked like classic storytelling was actually two pros who couldn't agree on a dress code. Flair's trashing the idea they were right, they were tight, and he's the only one saying it.
And the craziest part, he didn't even think that the match was that great. He said that he was still honored to be in front of 75,000 people, which isn't true. I think it was closer to 61. But the match, he said, meh, which is kind of harsh for a show that was still talked about like to this day all the time, especially that match.
Well, if that's not a backstage reality check, I don't know what is. Fans will keep cherishing those matches, but Flair sees it as a memorization versus improv. Apparently, one of those was improv at the crowd's expense.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, because this was in an interview with the Escapists the other day. I think it was like last week, and he just this is like word for word what he said. No, we had terrible chemistry. He wanted to rehearse, and I didn't rehearse. I had to come to Tampa and wrestle for 3 hours a day. That just wasn't my style. You have to feel the crowd. But, I think a lot of people have heard this story throughout the years that Randy really liked to script and rehearse his matches. And this isn't a surprise to me, and it's not a surprise to me that Rick didn't want to do it. Rick wants to party. I don't got time for that crap 3 hours a day. He's lifting weights. Yeah. He's in the gym. He already knows how to do all the crap that he wants to do. And he was definitely a big proponent of feeling out the crowd. I mean, I think that's a guy that taught Hogan how to do that.
Definitely one of them.
Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of funny, despite what the fans think. One of the guys, well, it's one half of the match, the only one that's still alive, wasn't too crazy about it.
Yeah, I would have liked to have heard what Mach's feelings on the match was.
Oh yeah, brother. Like, I tell you what, that nasty snake came in here smelling like alcohol, and I told him, "Get out of here, brother."
I don't do a very good one, but I gave it a shot.
Well, I'm not very inclined to try to do it right now, but maybe some other time if we do like a drunk show or something.
Yeah,
I'll try to
brother.
Do impression. But speaking of drunk, we have another report here. Surprising details on AJ Lee's WWE contract. Stop the presses. AJ Lee is officially back in WWE. Friday night on SmackDown, she showed up, stood side by side with CM Punk, and went straight for Becky Lynch.
Yes, she did. Of course she did, right? It's Chicago. Punk's home. AJ's home. The crowd lost their minds. And honestly, that was one of those, WWE actually pulled it off moments. But I don't think there was any doubt that this was...
Yeah. Well, you never know. They know how to mess stuff up.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just a one-night cameo. Triple H jumped on social media right after the show and dropped the bombshell. AJ Lee signed a brand new WWE contract, multi-year, full-time. She's not just popping in for a hug and a wave. She's here to stay.
That's good. They've had Nikki come back, and I think if Nikki's deserving of a comeback, I think, AJ Lee as well. If she just came back for one match, I don't think the fans would be very happy about it. I think they might riot, depending on where they're at, and not the fun kind of ECW riot. I'm talking about angry Reddit threads and some mean Twitter posts and maybe a change.org petition.
Exactly. Now we're officially headed to WrestlePalooza. AJ and Punk versus Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins. WWE's biggest power couple against WWE's biggest returning power couple. That's a money match if I've ever seen one.
In today's standards, 100%. And, it's cool. They're not waiting. Reports suggest that AJ's probably going to be showing up on Raw tonight to make this thing official. So the translation is Vince might be gone, but WWE hasn't lost its love for hotshot booking.
Hotshot or not, AJ Lee being back full-time changes everything. Women's division, Punk storylines, merch sales. It's about to get real interesting. And let's be honest, nobody cuts a promo like AJ Lee. She's about to have Becky Lynch second-guessing every word she says. I mean, she literally... I was telling Ryan and Brandon this earlier in the week to try to convey the importance of AJ Lee in the lexicon of women's wrestling history. And, when she was there, she was the best women's wrestler in the world, in the ring, on the mic, without question.
Yeah, she was doing way more talking when I was watching. She was just ending the GM thing, and she was partnering with Ziggler and Big E, and then Big E whacked her in the head and
right in the chest.
Yeah, but so I saw her kind of around then. She was definitely doing some really good promos. I remember when she ran the whole Divas division down. They were all doing a total Divas thing in the ring, and she came down and ran them all down. And she's it's going to be good. I like the angles that they're going to be able to do with Punk because everything that Punk seems to do has a little bit more meaning than a lot of the other things that happen on the show. And that them having that tie, it's going to be those strings that they're going to be able to pull.
Definitely. A lot of story possibilities.
I'm looking forward to it.
Well, definitely. And speaking of possibilities, they got some possibilities of people misreporting things. WWE surprisingly takes a veteran performer off the road. Actually, they didn't. So PW Insider Elite decided to break some big news this
You paid
week.
for this.
Big. Yeah. People pay for this.
Yeah.
People do. I don't.
Yeah.
You don't. Wade Barrett was apparently taken off the road by WWE. Shocking, right?
Yeah, shocking if it was actually true. Spoiler, it wasn't. Barrett himself went online and basically laughed it off, saying that he had a couple weeks of personal time planned months ago, and he even called it a complete non-story.
Which means PW Insider basically jumped the gun, threw a headline out, and didn't bother to confirm it with the guy that they were writing about. Classic, you got to get the scoop journalism that turns into egg on your face.
Exactly. And what really happened? WWE's commentary shuffle was Cole and Graves handling both shows for now because Joe Tessitore's busy with football. Barrett's just on vacation. That's it. Not a firing, not a demotion, not a scandal. Just Wade Barrett drinking a beer somewhere while dirt sheets panic.
Honestly, this is why fans roll their eyes at insider reporting sometimes. They tried to make it sound like WWE benched Barrett, when in reality, the only thing that he's benched from is Monday morning emails.
We should send an email to PW Insider. Actually, no, screw that. A postcard from the beach that says, "Wish you were here. Story still fake." Yeah. It's kind of funny though, because sorry, Dave. It's like this is the classic stuff where it's like this shows you how wrestling journalism works. So they make an educated guess. Which this was a good educated guess. There was like a 50% chance, especially with the Nikki Bella stuff that went on lately, that maybe this could have happened. This was the old WWE. Maybe Vince would have done something like that. But this isn't how things seem to happen these days. And it shows you this is like the Meltzer type style of stuff where I'm going to make a guess, and the only thing that these guys did to mess up, to not do the usual, was say plans change. Oh, maybe make it. You got to play both sides so you can be right 100% of the time, and that's what this guy messed up on. So he's learning from Uncle Dave, but not enough.
Right. Well, the takeaway from this is it's an example of the wrestling media running with unverified info, turning a vacation into fake drama.
100%, man. It's just more of the same. All you had to do was call the guy. I'm sure you have his number, right?
Sorry, I had a cough there.
I just did right before you. That's funny. But we can go ahead and move on to this next one here if you want to take us into it, Dave.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a watch along. Kevin Nash on why LA Knight can't become a top guy. All right, for this one, like I said, we're going to do a little bit of watch along. Kevin Nash had some, let's say, strong words about LA Knight. Basically, he doesn't see him as a top guy. He says he's just ripping off The Rock in Austin. That kind of thing doesn't work anymore. Let's roll the clip here and get started.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
LA Knight is in a position where he is over.
He's over.
But he's over because
he's put in something that's in the spotlight.
But he's gotten himself over because of the formula that worked, like when we all got over, like catchphrase.
That it's still the same stuff.
And
yeah,
like
just
wrestling hasn't changed that much.
And watching him and Punk is organically over.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
Punk doesn't have to lead a single or give anyone paint
and
by
anytime
numbers
Punk
chance.
wants to, Punk can fucking make his shit look weak by fucking mocking his shtick.
Mm-hmm.
I said 2 fucking years ago, when I didn't know who he was and all that fucking shit went up, and I said, well, he's doing The Rock.
Okay.
And, I said that then, and he got over, he worked hard, he was always in fucking shape, and I just said, you know what, man, I don't want to be that bitter old guy. He's over, people like him. I'm not going to fucking badmouth the guy, but in retrospect, where are we at 2 years later? That fucking doesn't work. Sooner or later, man, it's just...
You know, I don't know if I agree with that, man. You know, wrestling's kind of... It's been the same tried and true thing forever. The WWE formula, the catchphrases work, but he's more than that catchphrase. He's good in the ring. He brings an intensity. He has a lot of charisma. What did Hogan have? A lot of charisma. The Rock, if he didn't have charisma, his gimmick wouldn't have worked either. Like if he wasn't super confident in himself. LA Knight, Punk is organic, but I don't think Punk could destroy LA Knight on the mic, just for the simple fact that LA Knight's quick. He has good comebacks. You know, like,
oh yeah.
What do you say to LA Knight to? He's not a goof. He takes himself seriously. I don't know. I just LA Knight at any point could be put into a top position with the belt, and he would fit right in and do great.
Well, yeah, you and I've talked about this before. You know, he's only not in a main event position right now because Punk came back. He was literally on the cusp of being a main event guy, and it's like, well, they had to make room in the main event somewhere.
They had that match against Reigns, and he lost, but that was like, you know, at the end, near the tail end of Reigns' like multi-year run, and I don't know. We're big fans of LA Knight. He's a refreshing change in a lot of guys who they act like clowns and like kind of comedy gimmicks these days. He's just, his package works. I like it. He's serious. I don't mind the catchphrases. And most people that are watching the product and spending money on it and influencing their kids were watching during the Attitude Era. So that kind of style would work on us, right? If that's what we like.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, if you're going to rip two guys off, ripping off Rock and Austin, not a bad duo.
100%. Sorry, I went on a little bit of a tangent there.
Oh, no, you're good.
But yeah, I mean, he's just trying to make it like he's some kind of cosplay version of The Rock, and that's just not the case.
Nah. Well, and speaking of tangents, Ronda Rousey is an idiot. So in the last 2 weeks, Ronda Rousey's basically turned into the Yelp section of wrestling. She's out here burying everybody, WWE, Vince, Becky, Bliss, like she's speed running a career heel turn that she never pulled off in the ring.
Yeah, you know, first she kills with UFC rumors, you know, for the White House, which I don't think there were any real rumors about that. But she said, I ain't fighting at the effing White House. My kids need pasta. Pasta?
What?
Like, that's not an excuse. What are you talking about? You're not saying, no, I'm retired. Not, I'm done fighting, but nah, spaghetti night's more important than a paycheck. It's like, Rowdy Ronda Rousey, fueled by Olive Garden? Like, what is that?
And then the Vince shot called him an 80-year-old pervert, which, okay, that's fair. But coming from her sounds less like exposing the truth and more like, hey guys, remember me? I've still got quotes.
Then she brags about refusing to tap to Becky Lynch. Like WWE supposedly pitched it, and then she goes, my mother would disown me? Like, first off, who cares about your mom? But, you know, nobody believes that you're holding like kayfabe together with some kind of weird family honor code. Becky Lynch has a finisher. She's more important in wrestling than you. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's the kicker. She says only one person she'd ever tap to, Shayna Baszler. That's not respect. That's playing favorites. Imagine telling the entire locker room, none of you are good enough to beat me except for my bestie.
Yeah, and don't forget her Alexa Bliss rant that she had the other day, too. She called their feud ridiculous and said that it only happened because Bliss sold more t-shirts, which is hilarious because Ronda's basically admitting that she got outdrawn by a 5-foot Disney princess with some kind of foam hammer. You know, Alexa didn't need to clap back hard. She just tweeted, I love our business, which is basically like, you know, just like patting her on the head.
Yeah, and then MJF, not even in the company, swoops in like a buzzard and says it's almost like wrestling is a business. Translation, thanks for the promo, Ronda. I'll take it from here.
So to recap a little bit here, Ronda says that she's done with wrestling, which is funny because nobody was asking her to come back. And she's done with fighting, which nobody was asking her to come back for that anyways. She hated her feuds. She hates Vince. She won't tap to Becky. She'll only tap to Shayna. And then she blames merch sales for everything. Basically says that Basically, she's become that ex who trashes everything that they ever had in WWE. Oh, and fighting, and she somehow still wants the attention. These things pop up with her like once a year, once every couple of years now.
Yeah.
Did you see that other stuff that she said? Because, we pushed this back a day, so she updated a little bit more. So she started talking about Jon Moxley being the most incredible human being ever, supportive, kind, passionate, humble, all that kind of stuff. And then she even credited him for Marina Shafir's growth as a wrestler in person, saying that his rising tide lifts all boats in AEW's locker room.
Yeah, come on. Jon Moxley stinks. He hasn't lifted up anybody around him. His matches are lazy brawls. His promos can be solid at times, but overall he's been doing the worst work of his career the last couple of years. And as for Marina, what growth? She hasn't shown anything new since being with the Death Riders.
Exactly. Let's not act like he's some kind of locker room savior. If anything, he's just been coasting while other people actually like step up and like Swerve and Ospreay and are like trying to move the company forward.
Yeah, and on top of that, Ronda's out here saying she never heard from anyone about Evolution 2. Why would they call her? She's been trashing WWE nonstop since she left. No way the company is going to bend over backwards for her.
Yeah, like you can't keep burning your bridge and then expect it to be invited back across it. WWE was just fine without running Evolution 2 without her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. She was talking about pasta, like what's next for next WrestleMania? Like, is there casserole in the oven? It's funny too, I just want to highlight how she was talking like she didn't want to tap to Becky, and then she was talking about as if having a feud with Alexa would have been something beneath her. It's like, newsflash, you dumb fuck. Alexa Bliss is up here in the company in all-time like women's wrestling for WWE. You're probably right about somewhere down here. You only coasted because of your MMA name, It's, and like, don't get me wrong, you did okay in MMA for a while, but it's like the first person that you went against, and Holly Holm that had a full-time camp in a real training camp, you lost to. And then number 2, Amanda Nunes, after that, you lost to. And in the Amanda Nunes fight, she refused to do any promotional work before the fight. So, she's been catered to. She's lived a sheltered life. Her mom basically raised her to do this whole judo thing, and she was successful at that. But it just seemed like she just developed this weird, terrible attitude, and she's sour about all this awesome shit she did. Embrace it. People want to love you, but you're a terrible role model for fucking children. You seem to be a terrible person with some very weird beliefs. And overall, you said you wanted to go into your farm, disappear to your farm, and everybody will be good.
Yeah. And we'll be good too.
Yeah, sorry, I know I keep going on these rants, but like, Alexa Bliss is awesome, You should have been happy to work with her.
Yeah, I don't know what her dumbass problem is, just
she
does
that
money.
She doesn't get it, right?
Nope. Mark for herself.
Yeah, well, I think we're going to speak about something that everybody should be getting if they haven't watched it yet. We are privileged that this shit has came back because it has been amazing. We've all been enjoying it a lot. I know you have. Is this me or you on this one?
It looks like you.
Okay, cool. So we got King of the Hill, episode 7 review. Oh, duh, what am I even talking about? So we got season 14, episode 7, Dave, and it's called Any Given Hill Day. This one had a lot going on. The ending was amazing. This is the best ending of any King of the Hill episode ever. But Bobby's customer died in the episode right in front of him. Peggy waging war on screen time. Hank dragged into Cowboys fantasy camp with Willow. Where do you even start?
Man, this felt like 2 episodes crammed into one almost. You had Peggy running the No Screens We Need Community crusade, and then you had Bobby just trying to connect with his dad. The Peggy stuff, classic. She smacks Nancy's phone right out of her hand in the alley like she's stone cold stunning somebody.
And then she accidentally launches a bedbug epidemic with her Book Nook project. Only Peggy Hill could be so self-righteous about screens and then spreads parasites across Arlen. And Dale covered it up by lying to everybody. That was peak Dale. It was cool how he lied to her, too. He was being nice, but he was making some money.
Yeah. Yeah, and it cracked me up how Min was turning it into a witch hunt. Like, Dale did it for the profit until Dale instantly outed Peggy when they turned on him. It was Peggy, and then he ran off.
The neighbors.
In Peggy's defense, at least the books brought us out of our houses. Lady, you infected the block.
Yeah. And then they burn the books like it's Fahrenheit 451 in the middle of the cul-de-sac. They did that in Hank's yard. They fucked his lawn up.
Oh yeah, man, he's not going to be happy about
Yeah,
that.
that's what I'm thinking when I'm watching. Like, oh no.
Meanwhile, Hank and Bobby's side of the story was way more heartfelt. Bobby wanting to take his dad to a Cowboys game but settling for fantasy camp. That felt like a real son trying too hard moment.
Yeah, but then
It's
Willow,
good.
yeah, but then Willow tagging along kind of threw a wrench in it. You could see Bobby's insecurity bubbling up. Like, great, my girlfriend's bonding with my dad more than I ever could. Hank, on the other hand, was just thrilled to have his underwear in a locker at the Cowboy Stadium.
Until he saw Willow in the showers. That was hilarious and uncomfortable at the same time. And then the Jerry Jones moment. Not Jerry, just Willow doing her business on his desk. I lost it. That's the most unhinged gag this revival has pulled yet. It instantly thought of you.
Yeah, that was funny, man. I actually liked the Hank Willow bonding. It wasn't creepy. It was more like Hank saw that she respected the football tradition the way he does, and for Bobby that kind of stung because that was also his wake up call that he still loves Connie. Which I thought this was kind of interesting because they pulled the classic twist where you thought it was lame that Willow was going at first, but then it shifted into a different direction where Hank started to want to, play with her. So it was like a two-way thing. It wasn't just a single path in the story. And that's the best kind, the branching narratives.
Right. You expected one thing and it took you another way. And the talk to him while he can still talk back line from Willow was a nice gut punch. That was good writing.
Yeah, it was. So big picture, did you like this episode?
Yeah, it was a little busy. You could have split the Peggy's anti-tech book nook arc and Hank's Cowboys camp into two separate episodes. I still liked it. Willow's a fun addition, even if she's chaos incarnate.
Yeah, I agree. In the ending, everyone burning books while Peggy's weirdly proud and Hank and Bobby realizing that they're still a father-son at the core. It worked. It's kind of messy, but I definitely liked it a lot. This was a great episode.
It really was one of the better ones this season so far.
We don't have a ranking here. If I had to rate this, it would be like a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd probably give it like an 8 or a 9 out of 10. Like really good. It would.
If she didn't take the dump, it would be an 8. The dump made it a 9.
Yeah.
So,
her seeing Hank naked in the shower was pretty hilarious too. And then she's knocking on the door while he's trying to hide in the bathroom like stall, just looking all terrified.
that makes him
Classic.
uncomfortable. You remember he didn't even want Luann in his bedroom.
Yeah.
No, it's funny how this keeps pushing the Hank into all these weird directions that he never would have been before. But overall, I'm really enjoying it. Can't wait to talk about the next one, and we can go ahead and wrap this thing up.
Well, next episode we're going to talk to you guys about Raw and Dynamite. I don't know why.
It doesn't matter.
We'll have some news. Who knows what else we'll have? Some kind of segment, some kind of entertaining thing, some kind of something you won't want to miss for sure. So make sure that you check us out. I assume we'll be doing it on Thursday. If not Thursday, Friday. Either way,
it'll happen.
You'll have the next episode for the weekend for you to enjoy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe.
Thanks for, yeah.
You want me to take us on?
I was gonna.
Go ahead.
Yeah, in a second. I was gonna say thanks for bearing with me this episode here. We you guys may not see this in the final edit, but we had a little bit of an outage for probably like 10 or 15 minutes. A little bit of goofy stuff, but we pulled up the nose. Everything came out. We had a good show, and like, comment, and subscribe on all of our stuff. Thanks a lot, TJ.
Thank you. I'll keep it short and sweet. At OverMark ENT, all the stuff, like Dave said, we appreciate you. I appreciate you, Dave. I'll say the same thing. If you listen for a minute, we love you. If you listen for an hour, we'll come over to your house and wash your dishes or something. But until then, we're going to get on out of here. I'm about to put this music on, and then we will see you guys for the next episode.
TJ's yelling at a gift, Dave's eating crab. We skipped our bills to watch Raw live and ranked 800 wrestlers just to survive. Our muscles are fat.